After this very long fall, we hit the candle to initiate our next boss battle. And the first part of this boss battle is very easy. He moves very slowly and then will swing his sword at you, which you can easily move to the opposite side of him to avoid. The second part is a little bit more annoying, since he'll actually be able to throw his sword out much quicker, and you'll have to either move away or duck to try to not get hit by it. The waves you can easily duck under, so those are easy when he's bouncing around from side to side. Just continue hitting him as much as you can, and avoid him by using your duck ability in order to try to get over the projectiles. Once he's done, we complete the rock castle, and now we're going to move on to the third stage of the game, our third castle. Next up is the plant-themed castle, Plant Castle, and you can see in the background the flowers have a nice blooming effect to kind of give a pretty unique area here in a Game Boy game. In this room you can choose either path. Both are going to end up leading to the same spot. The upper path though is obviously a tiny bit more challenging, since you have to be careful not to jump into the spikes. Be careful when going down here. It may seem at first that you actually could drop off that rope and end up being okay, but that will lose you a life if you drop down there. Climb up the rope here to get up to this upper part here, and watch out for the eyeballs. You may want to at first try to attack them, but when they explode, they actually destroy the bridge that you're walking across. Now later on, we're actually going to have to use that to get down, but for now, avoid the eyeballs altogether by jumping over them in the gaps between the spikes. When you get to the end, climb your way up to the next part. This whole area can be pretty annoying, since not only do you have to jump from rope to rope, there's going to be these skeleton monsters throwing bones and bouncing from rope to rope. Try to take them out from a distance if you can, if you have the fireball ability, since they're going to get very annoying and not leave you alone at all every time that you're on here. You can defeat that bat from a distance as well, and then work your way over to the far right rope. These skeleton guys are quite annoying, especially considering their spawn rate isn't the greatest where they're going to spawn from, so when you're jumping from rope to rope, you may accidentally end up respawning them like I did a few times, and that's really obnoxious. In this part, we have more of the eyeballs that we have to jump over. Be careful not to accidentally hit them, because like I said before, when you hit them, they explode and causes the bridge that you're currently walking on to break apart and causing you to fall down to the platform below and may accidentally fall into a pit. When you get down here, once again be very careful when jumping over the eyeballs so that you don't hit the spikes above you, and try to use the gaps to your advantage. As you can see right there, I had to take out that particular eyeball. Use the eyeballs here, though, to end up hitting them and falling down to the platform below so that you can get over to the right and go to the next part of the level. Here is some interesting platforming overall. You have these spiders that make webs as they fall down. You have to use the webs to actually grab onto them like ropes to get across. Now the first part was just a test, but here is where it really comes into play. Wait for the spiders to fall down pretty low and then hit them at their lowest point so you have a long enough rope in order to climb around. When you get to the second one, wait for the second two to fall down, jump to the next one, and then make your way all the way over to the platform. You can jump onto the webs while the spider is still making it and the spider is still alive. It's a little bit harder because then obviously they're taking up a big chunk of the web, but also you can't move as fast up the web since it's moving down on you and the momentum will cause you to move slower. As we get past this final area of spikes, come into the middle here, hit the object in order to make the boss spawn, and then what happens when the bosses actually are two statues on the left and right here, but thankfully, it's only one health bar for them. Jump onto the middle elevator to move your way up, and attack either statue when the spear that they're using ends up going into the ground. So when you see that trident fall into the ground, that's your opportunity to jump up and attack them. The projectiles that do come out of them you can destroy with your whip, so also use that to take them out so that you end up not getting hit by those and knocked off of the platform. It's going to take a little bit of practice and timing in order to take out those projectiles as they get launched at you, and if you have the fireball whip, use that to your advantage to hit either one of the statues from a distance. You may take a hit or two during this whole part, that's just probably going to be the nature of the whole thing. And really focus more on those projectiles since obviously the statues themselves aren't going to do any damage to you. Our last castle of the first four is the Cloud Castle. By completing this castle, the final castle, Dracula's castle, will emerge and we'll be able to go to it. When you get to this part, be careful when you jump to the rope. As you can see, when you jump onto them, they start to get pulled back into the ceiling and will slowly pull you towards the spikes at the top. Time it right so that you can jump from rope to rope and quickly get over to the next platform and end up not hitting the spikes above you. If you jump across quickly, you should be able to make it across pretty easily without getting hit by the spikes. And here we kind of have a reverse from earlier in the game where we had the spikes coming out of the side walls. In this one we have to deal with the spikes coming up from the floor area. Here we have some more of the pulley ropes. This time though they fluctuate between each other, as you can see. On these ropes, you have to quickly be sure that you're ready. When you jump over the one, that one will start to fall down while the other one will go up. So time it just right so that you can quickly make it between the two ropes and over to the other moving platform. Try to take out this guy from a distance if you can before obviously trying to make any attempt at jumping to his platform. Thankfully, neither platform will go too far up and end up going into the ceiling.